Hello and welcome to the first episode of MYRI'S Paleo Park in Prehistoric Kingdom, and to the making of, or let's say the first part of the making of, this Smilodon Grotto, which I intended to just be a singular build for a live stream. I made 2 live streams like half a year ago because I was frustrated with Jurassic World Evolution 2, with Hogwarts Park that I'm building there because it kept crashing. And so I had to get away from the game, but wanted to do live streams. So I started with, to stay on brand with a little grotto for a cat, a big cat in Jurassic World. No, not in Jurassic World, in Prehistoric Kingdom. So what I'm showing you in this video is what happened between the 2 live streams I did. The first one I prepared for by creating a rock wall, which took me 2 hours. And we added a couple of dripping stone stalactites, stalagmites. And I gave them those crazy colors just because, I'm new at the game, kind of new. I had built like a singular exhibit for Dilophosaurus just to try out how the game works. But I was still at noob level 0 as I started this. So I didn't record how I built this first rock wall that is facing the entrance. Because it wasn't intended to become a speedbuilding series and to become a whole park. So in the live stream, I struggled so much. I don't know if there was a lot we did in the stream. So you don't have to watch them. I'm going to put this episode in between the 2 live streams because that's where it chronologically belongs. But just see this or view this as the start to the speed building series that is going to bring you much joy, I hope. It is bringing me a lot of joy, this park. So so here we go. We have this window in front, as you can see, where all the people are walking. And the reason I did this was Rob Earth once showed me a picture, I think that he took at Berlin Zoo, but I don't know exactly. But he showed me a picture of a tiger habitat with sort of a rock wall and a window in the rock wall with a waterfall falling down and the people walking behind the water, looking through it into the tiger exhibit. I thought that was so cool. I wanted to build this at one point in my life, and I decided that this was the moment. But because I was overwhelmed and excited of the game and all this stuff you can do in here, I strayed from my inspiration and added dripping stones, and as you can see, which in the end turns out it's too much. I'm going to reduce them. I'm basically going to get rid of the dripping stones that are just in front of the window and just have water falling down there. I didn't do this yet, even though I started this like half a year ago. To have it be more, it's so obstructive, and it really is not necessary to have those pillars in front of the window, because you'll see at the end, or as you saw in the quote-unquote glamour shot at the beginning, there is plenty of dripping stones for you to see if you go and look through this window. So there's really no reason for there to be so many in front. So I'm just going to add like curtains to the sides of dripping stones and water in front of it. It's hard to explain. You're not going to see what I'm talking about now in this video, but of course I added some sort of let's call it signage on top of this window. I wrote Smilodon Grotto, and on top of it I am going to create in one of the future episodes like a teeny tiny sort of diorama that captures the essence of this build, which is dripping stones and water falling down. And it's going to explain how the water is falling from the cave roof that we see here. It's going to originate on top of all of this and just fall down into this space that we have here. And yeah, it looks like a theme park. I really like it. You're going to see, but you know, you sort of get like the short information that this is a grotto. It has dripping stones and it has water in it, and it has cats because it says so on the sign. So okay, here we go. Right now, I'm doing. What was I doing? I'm doing stalagmites. Yeah, as I said, I'm still noob level 1, so I had trouble placing things. I had to play around with stuff a lot. Now I'm playing with water, with the waterfall thingies, and that's just really how you learn, how I learn how to work this game. I just grab one thing, and in this case, it's the waterfall special effects thingies, and just play around with it. So I'm shrinking it, I'm expanding it, and putting all sorts of teeny tiny little driplets of water all over the place to see if I can reach something close to realism with it. And it really helped me to understand, like this, I guess it was an hour. There's no way for me to know. Yes, there is, but I'm not going to look it up yet now. So I just took an hour and played around with the waterfall thingies, figured out that you can shrink them, that you don't have to use the biggest one. You can even rotate them that it looks like you put them on a slope or something. All of that works, but more about that in future episodes, my friends. Right now, it's just me testing and adding detail to this water feature that we have here. So I'm adding splashes everywhere where I think water would splash, land if it falls down, and continued, like, just sort of thinking about physics. You know, water falls down here, so it would splash and then flow off to the lowest point of the rock where we established the splashes, and then there will be another dribble thing falling down, meeting the next surface, and that's how I did this. It's still looking a bit weird, but you know, I'm just trying things. We're getting there. And now I'm lowering all these rocks in front because I realized that the view into this, it's all too obstructed. The foreground was way too high, so when you're standing behind this fence, you can't really look or this little wall that is a fence, but it's a little wall. You can't really see much because it's obstructed too much. So I lowered those, and as I said, I'm going to get rid of them entirely. There's just no reason for them to be there. Yeah. And then what also funny, now I'm rearranging these stalactites. Also, what was annoying is that the people, the guests, somehow they managed to constantly walk on top of the fence wall that we have in front of there and beam themselves into the exhibit. And that was annoying. So I added a pane of glass in front. We actually discussed this during the live stream, and we added the glass during the live stream. Rob was against adding a glass window here and just having it open because, like, realism wise, people said, yeah, it's cats, they wouldn't jump through the water that is dripping down from there, which is probably right, but still it felt weird to not, it's tigers, they're big, they're eating meat, they like to play, and they like to hunt. So maybe, and also they're not afraid to go swimming. They are not afraid of water. these guys. And my cats, like, to a certain degree, are very fascinated by water. I think if they saw a bird on the other side of this, they would totally jump through it. So, you know, safety first, put in a glass pane. It keeps up the illusion of there not only being this curtain of water between you and the tigers, but it's actually not the case. Also, important to note, maybe you saw my, or you watched my first tips and tricks video about this game. And these tips and tricks I found out during my process of experiencing and experimenting with this game. And as I said, I'm at noob level 0 right there. So I'm still using the water wrong. I'm not sure how to blend terrain textures yet. It's a work in progress, and at some point I will discover how to use water and so forth. But right now, that's not the case. So don't be oh, she's not even doing her own tricks, ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's because I didn't know them yet. So there we go. Now I'm deleting the path because the people annoyed me, and I was still the view into this is still too low. I had to get them up so you have a really good view into this thing, and you could look over the rocks in front and into the cave, have a really good view. So I added these, this little elevated platform that I did there, and now I'm adding a frame to the window, and that's something that I need to talk about. Okay, first of all, I still am new to this modular building bubble that probably exists. I guess that it exists. But, since I wasn't playing those games, I'm not planning on playing Planet Zoo. I don't know. It's not for me. If it hasn't dinosaurs or extinct animals, I'm not interested. So I'm not playing that stuff. I only played Jurassic World Evolution and the second one as well. And now this. And the only content about modular building is I knew to this point is Caesar Creates. Shout out, hi Caesar. I don't know if you're watching, but it's Caesar Create, and he plays Planet Zoo. And I guess in Planet Zoo you can't stretch your assets. You can't shrink them, you can't make them bigger, which is something that I didn't know. So I saw him not stretching his poles and his frames for windows, and thought there had to be a reason for it. And as you know, or maybe not, in real life I am a graphic designer, and I am used to there being certain groups of people who have certain values in graphic design. There's all sorts of movements. And so I thought never use color, everything black and white, everything has to be super clean and simple, versus stretching the readability of fonts as far as you can so that it's barely readable anymore, and almost venturing into territories that belong to the art world, not the graphic design world. And there's a ton of opinions what to do and what not to do. And so logically I thought Caesar must be part of, or probably has the conviction. Is that what I'm wanting to say. He's probably part of the movement that says we don't stretch things because it stretches the pattern, not the pattern, the textures. And if you stretch it too far, it gets muddy and ugly, which I understand. That was what popped into my head. This is the explanation my head came up with for Caesar not stretching his frames for windows. So I didn't either. I do it now. I realized that stretching these metal poles doesn't do much to the texture. So it's fine to stretch them. But still, I don't know if there is this movement or if I'm starting it right now. I was like convinced that this had to be the reason because I didn't see another one. And so this is how I started building. I'm stretching, like right now, as I'm, I don't know, maybe pro level 1 or something. I don't know. I'm stretching things. As you can see me now, as I'm doing the roof, I flattened those rocks. So, you know, it doesn't apply all the time because you don't see like this. It's fine to just shrink the rocks down to be flatter. I'm making the roof, and I'm making sure to include a few holes in the roof so I could have water dripping down from there, and by extension dripping stones. Yeah, so I thought, don't stretch it, just copy it like Caesar does. Yeah. What did I want to? I wanted to say that I'm stretching things nowadays, not everything, like walls with patterns on them. I see to it that I'm not stretching them too far, depending on how close you can get as a guest to them. If I'm building a roof that is like 50 meters in the sky, it doesn't matter. But if it's something that is right next to you, don't do too much stretching and muddy the texture. Same goes for wooden poles or something. You know, if it's really close to you, if I'm building like stairs or a railing or something that you can hold on to. And I don't like to stretch my wood because the texture gets ugly. So yeah, maybe I'm the founder of this movement, who knows? But yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to say. Oh my God, I went on about this for a very long time. So now I'm building a roof for this cave. It's not a cage. It's a cage, technically, but it's a cage cave. Yeah, still fiddling with things, trying stuff. I wasn't sure how to make this work. Now I'm looking for holes in the roof so I can add my dripping stones. I was checking if, like, I added this huge sleeping area for the cats, but it's completely in the shade. And I thought at this point that this was going to be the only like spot for them to hang out and chill, because I didn't know that I was going to build a whole park and extend this exhibit to basically I'm leading them all around this cave and giving them like the opportunity to go onto the cave and down on the other side. And I'm also going to add in the future, I already did, so I know I can safely say that I'm going to add like an indoor shelter to add some realism and all sorts of stuff. But I thought this was like the only spot for them to chill, and I know that cats love sun. So I was like, I need to give them a few little spots where the sun would shine through, because this would be otherwise a very shady space for them to chill out, and no sun, which is probably detrimental to their well-being. So yeah, I added some holes in the roof, but going to cover them up with a lot of dripping stones. As I'm doing now, I'm establishing like this huge pillar of dripping stones. So it basically, I mean, I went all over the place with them. You could say I exaggerated a little bit, but I really like how it turned out. And I think I'm even going to add a few more. And I'm saying a few, knowing that this could mean 1,000 or 10. Who knows? So yeah, but I think in the end it turned out like it looks really interesting. This is something that I wouldn't have had the chance to build if I just stuck to Jurassic World Evolution. And I'm pretty happy that I didn't, because I fell in love with this game. At the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I was overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't know, like, I know I can build everything in here, but that puts like a lot of pressure and indecisiveness onto my brain. It's like, someone telling you that you have every opportunity in the world. You just need to choose which one you want. It's like giving you a menu in a restaurant that has 50 pages, and they're telling you, okay, pick your first course, but you can only have one. This is for my brain, it's an impossible task, and it's overwhelming. So the first time I went into this game and built my Dilophosaurus habitat, I was like, yeah, okay, now I know how it works. I can see myself building all kinds of stuff in here, but do I really want to? It takes so much time and effort. I don't know if this game is for me. I can now safely say that it totally is. Right now I'm adding some watery effects to this pillar of stalactites and stalagmites, because like the one thing I don't like about these as they are in the game is that they are always super dry. But I have been to caves like this, and this is not how I experience them looking, because they are actually wet all the time. So I wanted to add some wetness to them without it looking like there's a huge waterfall coming through. So it was a bit of a hassle to put them like right at the sort of in between the wall and of the stone. How am I going to explain this? I don't know. You saw what I did. I tried to make them look as if they were running down the stalactite, and it works in a few spaces. Sometimes it doesn't work as well, but I felt that it was necessary for, to sell the idea that this could be a real, dripping stone cave, which in the lore of this park, obviously, it's not. This was completely built by my staff. Also, maybe some time for backstory of this park. It started out, as I said, as just this tiny little thing for the live streams. And I wasn't planning on making this something fancy or anything. I just wanted to play with rocks. I love rocks. As you know, if you know my Jurassic World Evolution 2 videos, I love to play with rocks. And so naturally, I wanted to do this here too. But apart from that, nothing too fancy. We discussed, I think Colt asked me to add like a little cafe on the other side of this cave, on this side that I'm working on, or that I just worked on, to look into the cave. So we started on that in the live stream, but I wasn't satisfied, and with the way it looked, I still had to figure things out. But at some point, I think that pretty much marks the point of reaching an advanced level, or just completing noob level. I realized that I really can build whatever I want. And then I did a like a sloping walkway that curves around the cave. My God. And goes up so you can look onto the other side of the exhibit. And I liked the clean look of it with just the concrete that I added. No railing, no nothing, no protection for the people to not fall into the Smilodon exhibit. And then I was like, okay, I could make this realistic and make it ugly because I like the clean, super reduced look it has right now. Or I could just, say screw everything. This is now my park, and I'm doing it the way I would if I had so much money that I didn't have to worry about adding stuff to this park that is super fancy, super expensive. And so this is basically what this park is turning into. It's a super fancy park. I'm sparing no expense. It's, I'm trying to apply my graphic design knowledge to architectural things that I'm building. I'm trying to do modern architecture, even though I'm not an architect and I have no idea about architecture, but it's okay. It's okay. It will turn out okay. And I'm adding like very cozy cafes where I can like lounge in very cozy chairs with pillows and couches and stuff, because I want my guests to feel like they're paying what they're paying is, like the entry fees must be pretty high in such a park, no matter how fancy or not you're building. So I was like, okay, if people are going to pay like a fortune to get in there, I don't want them to sit in a rustic thing that is made of plastic and old rotten wood. I want them to feel luxurious, like they're in a special place and they're getting their money's worth. So this is sort of the philosophy of this park. We didn't spare any expense. And right now you saw me not working the water as I'm telling you to work it. But that's just what it is. And I'm just simply not stopping adding these stalactites to my roof, which pays off in the end. It seems a little excessive right now. And I'm adding them to those holes because that's probably, that's how it works. There is like a little gap in between the rocks where water would go through and it would collect like sediments, and they would form these stalactites. So, I tried to stay natural, even though in this park it is obviously a man-built cave. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm paying top-notch habitat artists to create these gorgeous landscapes and to create these fabulous habitats. That's just this park. You're paying a fortune to get in, and I want you to feel special if you're there, and very, very comfortable and impressed all the time. So, I can argue the entry fees. That's it. Okay, we're almost there. I'm adding a ton, as I said, of those stalactites. I went over to flipping the roof, which was, let's just say, the moment I wanted to flip it back, I thought, oh my God, this was a mistake. I'm never going to find the right orientation again. I mean, I managed to put it back on top of the cave, which is good. But as you can see, I was like, oh my. Is this even how did it, there you go. This is the right way. It's almost fine. Let's just reposition it. It worked out in the end, but I was sweating when this happened, because I was like, okay, now I ruined it. I'm never going to be able to put it back where it belongs, because I'm confused now. And now I'm just, adjusting the length of those just to make sure you can still see through there, and the cats could still walk through there, and they can, which is great. And they're using this little cave as much as they can. I just love how the game sort of, as soon as you put a rock into an exhibit, all the animals go there because they finally have something to do and climb on it like crazy. So yeah, they're making full use of this cave. They're swimming and climbing, chilling, and getting stuck. They're not so, right now they're getting stuck, but in the future they won't as much, which is cool. So this is final touches. I built a bridge also because, you know, if you're coming from a game like Jurassic World Evolution 2, building bridges, that's the stuff dreams are made of, right? So I had to build a bridge, but I'm not going to use it, and it was a super simple one. You're going to see, maybe catch glimpses of it in the glamour shots at the end, but I thought I didn't have to show you how I built it, because, as I said, in the end I'm not using this bridge. It won't play any role in this park whatsoever, so it's really not important for you to see how I built it, because it's actually pretty self-explanatory if you see it, which you will soon, in about 2 minutes. Let's say 2 minutes. Now I'm adjusting the water level. I wanted it to be really deep so the cats could only swim and not walk there. And now I'm adding like final, again, I'm doing final touches. I'm adjusting the glass pane, and I'm adding a frame to the top, which I didn't do, and arranging the rocks around the window in a way that it looks like it is like built into this probably concrete or plaster, you know. So no rocks like going over the frame. The frame is meant to be like embedded into this plaster concrete rock wall, artificial rock wall. So that's what I tried doing, and here we go. Glamour shots. I didn't know how to make glamour shots yet, so I'm just going around with the camera, but I really like how this turned out, and it's going to turn out even greater, hopefully, in the future. So stay tuned. After that, what happens is the live stream, I'm going to add like a tiny bit of vegetation. We made like a scratching pole for the cats that I'm going to get rid of again. So nothing very important happened there. You're going to see what we did in the next episode of this, which I hope will be out soon, probably not next week. So yeah, I hope you like this, and I hope you will stay tuned to this work in progress park, MYRI'S Paleo Park in Prehistoric Kingdom. So yeah, thanks for watching. Enjoy this little view. Enjoy the glamour shots, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.